Cody thought nobody would expose the truth, but what Janelle revealed changed everything. And trust me, this family drama gets more shocking every minute. So hit subscribe right now because you do not want to miss the next explosive breakdown of the Brown family. The moment Christine drove away, everything inside the Brown family quietly started falling apart, and nobody realized just how serious the damage was until the cameras captured the first explosive conversation between Cody and Janelle. Because for years, Janelle had been known as the calm, practical wife, the one who stayed level-headed during chaos, the one who avoided emotional confrontations and focused on solving problems. But this time, something inside her had changed, and viewers could feel it immediately. Because instead of quietly agreeing with Cody, she started questioning him, challenging him, and exposing details about the family finances that completely changed the way people viewed the entire situation. After Christine left the family, Cody appeared restless, frustrated, and desperate to regain control over everything around him. And rather than focusing on healing relationships or supporting the family emotionally, he immediately became obsessed with one thing: Christine's house. The same house he had spent years criticizing suddenly became the center of his attention. And that alone confused viewers, because instead of celebrating a fresh start for Janelle or helping her secure stability after years of sacrifice, he pushed her toward buying a house she repeatedly explained she did not want and could not realistically afford. And the deeper the conversation went, the more uncomfortable it became, because it no longer sounded like a husband trying to help his wife. It sounded like someone emotionally pressuring another person into financing a situation that mainly benefited him while pretending it was for the family's future. And the tension became impossible to ignore when Janelle finally admitted something that instantly shocked viewers. She felt like Cody was using her buying power and credit to save a house he personally could not let go of. And the second she said those words, the entire dynamic changed, because suddenly years of rumors, speculation, and fan theories started feeling real. Viewers had spent years questioning how family money was handled, why some wives seemed financially secure while others struggled, and why Robin appeared to benefit the most from family resources. And now, Janelle herself was hinting that something behind the scenes was deeply unfair. And the more she talked, the clearer the picture became. Because according to her, they should have already been. Because over the years, the family had purchased expensive homes, moved multiple times, maintained separate households, and continued living beyond what many believed they could realistically sustain. And suddenly, the dream of Coyote Pass started looking less like a delayed project and more like a financial disaster hidden behind years of excuses. While all this tension built, another shocking revelation emerged when Mary casually admitted that she gave money from the sale of her Las Vegas house to help Robin purchase her home. And that confession completely stunned viewers because it exposed just how much the wives had financially sacrificed for each other, especially for Robin. And what made the moment even more uncomfortable was knowing that Mary's relationship with Cody had already been emotionally distant for years, yet she still handed over significant financial resources to support the larger family structure. And viewers immediately started questioning why someone who no longer had a romantic partnership with Cody would continue making sacrifices that seemed to benefit everyone except herself. And the answer became even more disturbing later, when Cody openly admitted that he wanted Mary involved because he needed her partnership to help accomplish paying off the property. And the way he phrased it sounded far more financial than emotional, because instead of discussing love, commitment, or rebuilding their relationship, he focused on teamwork, resources, and shared goals connected to the land. And many viewers interpreted this as confirmation that certain family relationships had slowly become transactional, with emotional connections fading while financial dependence remained intact. And that realization changed the emotional tone of the entire episode, because suddenly audiences were not just watching family disagreements, they were witnessing people slowly recognizing uncomfortable truths about the system they had built together for decades. Meanwhile, Robin's presence throughout the episode remained mysterious, because despite being central to so many financial discussions, she rarely appeared directly involved in the emotional confrontations. And viewers continued noticing how little filming happened inside her home compared to the openness shown by the other wives. And this only fueled more speculation. Because while Janelle openly discussed her struggles and temporary living conditions, Robin's lifestyle appeared protected, private, and untouched by the same level of scrutiny. And many viewers felt that this imbalance mirrored the larger problems inside the family, where sacrifices, responsibilities, and emotional burdens no longer seemed equally shared. And as the arguments continued, Cody's frustration became increasingly. As the emotional chaos inside the Brown family continued, viewers could sense that the situation between Cody and Janelle was reaching a point where there might be no return, because every conversation now carried years of frustration hidden beneath the surface. And the more they talked about land, money, and housing, the more obvious it became that the real issue was trust. And for the first time in a long time, Janelle no longer sounded willing to quietly accept explanations that did not make sense. Because after years of supporting the family financially, emotionally, and practically, she was finally questioning why she still had so little security for herself, while other people inside the family appeared stable, comfortable, and protected. And that growing awareness completely changed the energy of the season, because audiences were no longer watching simple family disagreements. They were watching someone slowly realize that the sacrifices she made for decades may never truly benefit her in the end. While Cody continued insisting that all of his decisions were about protecting the family future, his actions often created the opposite effect. Because instead of bringing unity, he seemed to create more division every time he spoke, especially when he kept introducing new reasons why Janelle's plans could not move forward. First, it was about needing more money, then it became about subdividing the property, then suddenly it turned into questions about loyalty, respect, and family cooperation. And the constant shifting explanations frustrated viewers, because no matter how practical or modest Janelle's ideas were, there always seemed to be another excuse preventing her from achieving independence. And the emotional impact of that realization became even more intense when Janelle presented her simple house design. Because unlike the massive homes the family had purchased in the past, this was not an extravagant dream. It was a small, practical plan built around necessity, stability, and affordability. She carefully explained how placing the home above a garage would reduce costs, and how she strategically positioned the structure so it would still fit within her property lines, even after future subdivision plans. And viewers could immediately see that she had thought through every detail, because she was trying to remove every possible obstacle before Cody could reject the idea. And yet, despite all her planning and compromise, he still refused to support moving forward immediately, which only reinforced the growing belief that the delays were not really about logistics at all, but about control. And that realization gave the entire conversation a deeply emotional undertone, because it became clear that Janelle was no longer simply asking. Because Cody repeatedly connected his frustration with Janelle to what he viewed as disrespect during COVID. And while he framed the situation around loyalty, many viewers remembered how deeply divided the family became during that time. Strict rules, disagreements over travel, and isolation from children had already damaged relationships long before these property arguments began. And now, those unresolved wounds were resurfacing inside every conversation, making it clear that the emotional damage from that period had never truly healed. And what frustrated many viewers most was the perception that the rules had not always been applied consistently. Because while some family members were criticized for social activities or visiting loved ones, Cody himself continued traveling, attending events, and maintaining outside interactions, which created a sense of unfairness that still lingered years later. And now, as he referenced respect and obedience during arguments about building homes and financial support, audiences could see how deeply those unresolved resentments continued shaping the family dynamic. Meanwhile, Janelle appeared increasingly focused on securing independence rather than preserving appearances, because unlike earlier seasons where she often prioritized keeping peace, she now openly discussed wanting an asset, something she could rely on, something that truly belonged to her. And viewers immediately recognized the significance of that shift, because Christine's successful departure from the marriage had already demonstrated that independence outside the family system was possible, and perhaps even emotionally healthier. And now, every conversation with Janelle carried an underlying question, whether she too was preparing for a future beyond the marriage. And that uncertainty created enormous suspense surrounding every scene, because audiences sensed that major changes were approaching, even if they had not been openly announced yet. While Cody continued insisting that he wanted the family to remain united, his emotional reactions often suggested fear, frustration, and exhaustion, because the reality around him was changing rapidly. Wives who once cooperated automatically were now challenging him, questioning financial decisions and prioritizing their own futures. And for someone who built his identity around leading a large, united family, this transformation appeared deeply destabilizing. And viewers could feel that instability in every argument, every contradiction, and every emotional outburst. Because beneath all the discussions about land, houses, and money was a much bigger issue: the collapse of the family structure that once held everyone together. And as the season progressed,
the Brown family may never recover from these secrets, and the next chapter could change everything forever. So make sure you subscribe right now, because the biggest shocking moments are still coming, and you do not want to miss them.